Hi, my name is Richard Duffy. I'm the SAP Business One Product Evangelist, and I'm part of the SAP Small and Mid-Size Enterprise Global team. I'd like to welcome you to this live demonstration of SAP Business One, and we're going to be focusing in this session on mobility, and I'm going to be taking you through the applications for SAP Business One which run on the iPad and the iPhone. So first of all, let's take a look at our application on the iPad. So this is the iPad 2, and the Business One applications will also run on the first generation iPad. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log on, because it's secured access, put in my password. So here is the main user interface of the SAP Business One mobile application. So you can see I've got a couple of key things that are presented to me. First thing I get when I log on is I get a to-do list, plus I get my key performance indicators that are shown here. Now you'll recall in the Business One demonstrations, I've already shown the approvals and the alerts functionality. So you get access to that same capability here inside the SAP Business One mobile application. So I can go and see all of the approvals that have come through. So I'm able to check an approval. I'm able to look at the information sitting behind that approval. So it was a sales order based on draft number 590. It was a special price on a refurbished printer in this instance for our customer microchips. So I get all of this information available to me that I can see. Plus there's user-defined fields available that I can drill down and look at if I want to. But that's all fine. I'm happy to go ahead and approve that transaction. And then it's going to ask me to put in some remarks. And because I'm a person who's short on words, I'm just going to put in here that it is approved. And I'll choose approve. And then that message pops up because I'm just in the demo system, so it's not going to go through. But then that approval in a live scenario would go right through to the back-end system. Let's take a look at the next option, which is our alerts. You'll recall in my approvals and alerts demonstration that I also showed an alert that had come up when somebody had deviated from a discount. I get the same thing here. So here's one of those alerts. There's been a deviation from a discount. So I can go in here and I can see which document number it was, what the document total was, and what the discount percentage was for the document. I'm also able to go in and I can view my reports. So just the same as you saw in our reporting demonstration, assuming that you've already looked at that, in the reporting demonstration I showed you Business Intelligence on Demand. What we're looking at here is the capability to look at crystal reports that are done inside SAP Business One, and you can now view those same reports here on your iPad. So let's say, for example, I want to look at my monthly sales analysis. One tap, and that brings up that data that's come directly out of SAP Business One into a crystal report, and it's being rendered in real time and being displayed up here on my iPad. So there it is. There's my OEC computers, my monthly sales analysis. So again, the report is formatted to take advantage of the way that the iPad screen works. So I can see all my information there by customer and the breakdown of that information as well. Okay, so that's an example of one of the reports. One other thing I can look at, let's say I'm out and I'm visiting with a business partner, one of my customers, and I want to look up their information. Again, I can choose business partner. It will give me a list of all the business partners, or of course I can go in here and search. But I'm going to go and look at Earthshaker, seeing as how that's the business partner we've been using for most of our demonstrations. I can see there is all of their information. I can see activities that have been put in the system that relate to Earthshaker. So there's all the different activities that have happened with Earthshaker. I can then go back to my business partner information. If I want to, by the way, I can go in here and I can add an activity just simply by clicking on the little plus button up here. It gives me the ability to add that activity. Here you can see I have the ability to add an activity. So I've got phone calls, meetings, tasks, all of this. When I get out of the meeting from the customer, I'm sitting in my car, I can immediately update this information, or of course I can do it in the meeting. On top of that, I also have the ability, when I'm looking at the address, I can go out and have that automatically search through Google Maps and find that address, and then I can go and put in my directions as well. It'll detect where I am, where I want to be, and give me the directions on how to get there. Again, don't forget, this is running through a kind of a low-speed wireless connection. This is running through the T-Mobile Edge network, which is a little bit slower than the typical 3G or 4G connection that you might be getting. But you can see it's still very, very effective in terms of giving me access to that information when I need it. So I'll say done. Another thing I can do my stock lookup. So at any point in time, if I'm in front of a customer and they want to know, well, how many of those IBM Info printers have you got in stock right now? All I need to do is go in here to my stock lookup, and don't forget, this is happening in real time. As soon as somebody processes a transaction back in the office, I'm seeing that information updated. So there it is. There's my IBM Info Print 1312. It's bringing up that stock information. And again, I can drill down and I can look at that in more detail. So I can drill down on the in-stock quantity, and I can see the stock availability by my warehouses. Final thing I want to show you here is the ability to have a look at my price list. So I've got all the different price lists available. I've got my my regular sales price, so I can click there, drill down on that, and then here's all my sales, all my prices in that price list for those products. So there's my IBM Info Print as well, so I can see that price, and then I can drop straight across into the stock availability screen that we looked at before. And again, with the drill down through to the availability by warehouse. So that's the SAP Business One mobile application running on the iPad. What I'm going to do now is just give you a quick look, not exactly the same level of detail, but just a quick look at the same application running on the iPhone. So now we're looking at the iPhone 4, and the same as I did with the Business Intelligence On Demand demonstration, if you have a Wi-Fi enabled iPod Touch, you can use the same application that I'm about to show you here on the iPhone. So there it is. There's my Business One application. I just tap on there, and up it comes. I'm going to go into my demo system again. We'll give it a few seconds just to bring up the screen. It's connecting to the server, and now you can see, again, I'm getting the same information, just being presented a little bit differently because of the different form factor. So I've got my home page where I've got my same key performance indicators. Note there that there's no to-do list for me at the moment. I can then go in here into my modules. So now I've got access to exactly the same thing. I've got my approvals. So all the same approvals that we saw before on the iPad. They're going to come up here. So there we have it. I've also got my alerts, my reports, business partners, stock and price lists. Let's just take a quick look at the reports, and you'll see how this then gets rendered up. Same report. Where are we? Our monthly sales analysis. There it is. We'll give that a couple of seconds just for it to render. And there you have exactly the same report that I showed you on the iPad, this time on the iPhone. And of course, as you can see, that functionality that I have to be able to pinch and squeeze to shrink that and expand that, I can take advantage of it. Now I can also change the orientation of the iPhone, and I'll get a different view of the application. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to throw out the camera, but I can go back to my modules, and let's take a quick look, for example, at our stock. There's all my stock inquiries, the same as I could do before. My business partners. You can see it's nice and fast. And I'm going to pick Earthshaker Corporation. There it is, and there's their address. So again, if I tap on the address, you can see it's going straight into Google Maps, showing me exactly where they are. And then, of course, I can go in and start asking for directions on how to get there. So that, very, very quickly, is exactly the same application that we saw on the iPad running on the iPhone. So if you've got people on the road with the iPad, they can access that data. People on the road with the iPhone, they can access data. And if they've even got an iPod Touch and they're walking around your office and your office is Wi-Fi enabled, then they can access that same information from their iPod Touch.